So, welcome everyone on another day of business analysis track, and we are going to get started. In fact, we had been in last week. A few assignments were there. Sorry, few activities were there. We could not cover that, so we will be continuing with the last third day of week 6, and then we will transit towards seventh week. Having said that, let me quickly bring out the code of honor. Okay, what is this code of honor? Everyone needs to abide by. Why we are sharing this? Because this is to protect you on your journey to meet the desired goal, that is to get placed. And what is very important, the very important thing is that always show up live. Don't only dependent upon the recording. And when you are showing up on live, be on time, be punctual, and highly committed. So this shows up that when you show up, then you are going to make things happen for you. Why? Because how you do anything is how you do everything. This is preparation for you to get into the corporate world. If you will show up, how you show up over here, how you are going to show up over corporate once you get placed. Second requirement from you, and should be your code of honor, and should be my code of honor on the path of learning as well. Be a full stack student. When I mean full stack student, you should be a lifelong learner. You can just take a keyword LLL, it means lifelong learner, so that whenever you are getting enrolled to any learning path, you need to make sure that you are doing all the assignments, because this is going to decide and define your success as a student. That's number one. Number two, once you are learning, remember to do self-research. What you will learn, that could be the tiny information, but you need to maximize that further. And that is dependent on your own research. And that happens through introspection, through pondering upon that. Okay, so that's another thing. And third important thing is that as a student, always remember to repeat what you learn. Okay, so that you can retain the data or memory for a longer period. The third code of honor is take full responsibility of yourself. When you are on this path and you are following everything as the T, you are going to attract the success. And if you are attracting success, definitely you are going to say, hey, because of my hard work, I reached over here. But again, when you failed, you should also take the responsibility of your failure by tracing back the dots, realizing that where you missed the track, so that even you can take the full responsibility. And when you take the responsibility of both the nodes, then you are completely responsible, because responsibility creates the result. Okay, the fourth one is very important, is about mindset. On this learning path, you must have, and we must have, learning mindset, positive mindset, complaint free mindset, gratitude mindset. You should introspect how to have such mindset. Okay, so there is an easy way, easy processes. The fifth one is increased receptivity. The way you start your day is going to define how it is going to happen. So start your day with the stranger secret. I have shared with you the audio or the link already, and you must start your day with the stranger secret of the world. And I have shared you. Why? Because it will keep your momentum always high, and momentum makes the magic. Remember, the second one is, remember the golden quadrant of the learning. Whatever you learn, start with the declaration, then learn, then draw what you have learned, and then try to summarize that to someone or to yourself by looking at the mirror. Even if you are not able to do this, at least try to explain this in a simplified manner to someone who can understand. Sixth, be the giver. So on this path of learning, give ego away, so that you can learn from anywhere, anyone, learn from anyone, anywhere, at any point of time. Okay, and It will help you to keep you spiritually grounded on the path of growth, because this is one of the yardstick to move ahead towards the growth. That is internal growth and outer growth. When you are doing that, you are doing this with the intent of getting place. And when you will add up the intent of the charity, what it will help you, what you give, that let you grow, and what you take, let you survive. That's the simple fundamental. And at least once you get place, you can mark yourself that you are going to contribute 10% on the faith, what you have something in your mind that you are going to add up, because what goes around comes around. So it is simply to maximize your own wealth. It cannot be only in terms of money, it can be in terms of time, appreciation, and smile, or anything which is going to beautify your own life. And on the path of learning, the beautification of life is very, very important. When you feel good, you feel energized, and when you feel energized, you take a lot of action. And on the path of learning, taking massive action is the key. Appreciate what you are doing, appreciate what others are doing for you, and even what does not happen to you, that has to be appreciated, because what you appreciate appreciates you back. Did it make sense to you? Show me thumbs up, whatever I have shared with you. Yes. On this note, I want you to start learning. How? Start with the declaration. How you are going to start declaration? Give yourself a self high five, declaring along with me that I am a super quickest learner. I can learn anything out there what others too can do. Okay. Or just at the count of 3, you are going to do this. What you are going to repeat? I'm a super quickest learner. That's number 1. And then say, I can learn anything out there what others can do. Okay. So at the count of 3, go. 1, 2, 3, go. I am a super quickest learner.
Quick learner. I can learn
Anything
whatever the
out
others
there
can learn.
what others can do.
Others can learn.
Super awesome. Once again, welcome all of you. Let me share my screen. Prerna ji, so we are getting started. Yeah,
Yes,
I'm sharing my screen.
very good start, I must say.
Yeah, thank you. So we had something remaining from last week, so I thought that I will have to complete that. Okay.
Sure.
So what we were discussing, we had some assignments floated inside the WhatsApp group. That's amazing. So great going, guys. So we had discussed board, we had discussed and spent a lot of time discussing workflow diagram. And the another part is entity relationship diagram. This is also a business domain model. So what is this? So Prerna ji, you can take this up if you wish to, and we can get started.
Before this, I just wanted, first of all, superb efforts by everyone who had shared the process flow diagrams. So I just wanted to quickly take those as in yesterday I saw Priya's. I know Anam, Priyanka, everybody have shared those, but just an update I wanted to share. 1 second, I'm just trying to find that. Priyanka, not Priyanka, Priya, you remember you shared this diagram, flow diagram? Yeah. Do you have that in front of you as of now?
Yes, wait, I do, but I can
you from let me share that.
Yeah,
okay?
Will you please? Yeah. Yes.
Okay, because I just discussed, Dipti, what she had shared, but I think I discussed what Dipti had shared earlier one, not the fishbone diagram.
The recent one.
Yeah.
Because there is an update. That's right. No, fishbone was fine. Fishbone. By the way, I would just recommend all of you to check each other's diagrams too, because everybody has taken different examples. So that will add as a knowledge base to you. Okay, we can have this. So first of all, very realistic examples by all of you. Only thing I wanted to highlight here, Priya, is see, you have a very good and practical usage process flow diagram, like we give any order or Amazon or eBay or stuff like that. So here the only thing is, as per the logical flow I wanted to highlight is, when you say order received, check order, paid and cancel, paid and not paid, that's absolutely fine. As per that, you cancel or you accept the order. The only thing I wanted to check is you check the inventory first and then you confirm the order, because you must have, all of you must have noticed, whenever we try to buy something on Amazon, it strictly shows out of stock. If it is not there, if it is in the stock, then only it is there to be bought. It is there available for the buying purpose. So this order you'll have to change. That's it. Check the inventory, and then again, from the check the inventory. If there is yes, then yes, confirm order. No, you can, say alert or message stating out of stock. Add to your wish list, like that. So that is the only
Okay, got it.
update. Yes, I really like this
Yeah, that
example
makes
because I
sense.
am.
Sure.
Yeah, because I am a very much regular buyer at Amazon, especially with this lockdown, being at home, so not going out. So I could very much
Right.
relate. And I was like, no, this order is not right, because I have so many things which are out of the stock, and you keep in the wish list and you keep
Yeah.
checking, are they back? Otherwise, it's good. I've checked Anams. That was also very professional. But I really like everybody's who have put in efforts, drawn it on the paper, because when you actually do this, as per what no, Gaurav keeps saying, that you have to learn things, memorize things. So when you draw, when you write things, it kind of gets engraved or stored in your memory for permanent. That's why that is the reason why we remember our school days stuff so well, because we have written all that. We have. I'm not saying mugging up or remembering like that. Yeah, so even the fishbone diagram was very nice, pretty good example. It was not IT based, but yes, it's a very practical example of road accident. So I really like that. So yes, we can see Anams and Priyanka's also, if
Yeah.
it is
So
okay.
before we go ahead, Priyaji,
Yeah,
that
or please add.
I have one receipt from Dipti. I wanted to share on that.
Yes.
Okay, I was just going through. So Dipti, for you, see, what you have written is good. That effect is that I really not able
In
to.
students' name and last names, some sorry, first names and last name students are getting marked absent, tardy, on time at the same time. I mean,
But
what I realized in my high school, that some students have the same first name and same last name. Okay,
the
just the spelling was
oh yeah.
different,
So what is the
and
problem? You did not define the problem over
the
here.
problem was both the students were getting absent, tardy, or on time at the same time. Like if,
Okay.
for example, a
Okay.
student named Dipti, okay, we had like 3, 4 Diptis, okay.
Mhm.
So, for example, if a student named Dipti is absent today,
All
so
right.
the other student named Dipti will also get marked as absent, tardy, or on time. Whatever
Uh-huh.
we are doing with other Dipti, the same thing is gonna
Okay. Okay.
happen. So,
So student with identical name were getting marked
yeah, that
uh,
is the
at the
professional way to put
same
that, I
time.
guess.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
So here, as you try defining equipment, so cannot enter middle name of a student. So this is a
Mhm.
problem in fishbone diagram. We have, as I shared earlier to Anam or someone or Priyanka, I really don't remember to whom I was mentioning this, and this
Mhm.
was that. You know First step is creating the fishbone diagram. In fishbone
Mhm.
diagram, when you create that, you need to just type in or mention what all are involved. When you type what all are the involved items, then second comes in that, after drawing the analysis phase. In this analysis phase, then further you can take them up, that okay, where is the actual problem. So here,
Mhm.
instead of that cannot enter middle name of a student, just you can mention over here by striking through this node three
Mhm.
times. The first will represent that input the name details. Second, input the birth details. That's one. And second, in case you are moving over here, not verifying other details like phone numbers and all. So here you
Mhm.
can mention that, the same again input, in fact, because here the input is the related to student, that is immediate input. Second are other details. Okay, other details or additional information. So input additional information, then you can mention the phone number, then gender or something like that. So that will be the input. Okay, then comes over here all students grades
Grades
got
got
mixed up. So here again, what you're doing, grade analysis. Okay, so here you can type in, okay, people is there, then grade analysis, and then current grade analysis, previous grade analysis, and historical grade analysis if you want to. And then comes over here materials, no space to add photo of a student. So yeah, so in the material you can write up photographs, then can add the previous bona fide certificate or birth certificate or whatever it is. So you can further just type in, not mentioning the error upfront. Okay, and then comes back to environment, not sorting the data according to the subject to the student.
The student has selected.
Okay, so here you can mention environment, then subject sorting, then name sorting, and then on. So means not mentioning the problem upfront is the key. Okay,
Got it.
and then here you comes to management, not checking the spelling of the first name and the last name. Then here comes to when you are managing the data, so you can mention here data management in terms of spell check and spell check, class check or something like that. So are you getting my point? So what
yes, I got it now
done over here, so we tried to mention the problem up front. So that's the only quickest feedback I wanted to share that with you. So Prerna ji, do you want to, yeah, you are welcome, Dipti. So thanks. Prerna ji, do you want me to go ahead and bring the other assignments, or you have given the feedback already and we can move on?
No, I've not given feedback. I just wanted to have, because everybody has put in so much of effort. So I just wanted to have just a quick look.
Yeah. Because we discussed few of the diagram. So yeah, no problem. I'm bringing
I just want others if they have any. Yeah. Priyanka's is latest, right?
Yeah.
And get to see that.
I believe this is on the screen. You are
yes,
able to.
And you know what I really liked, that everybody took different examples. It was not like a college assignment when everybody copied one another or taken from the same source. Everybody had a variety of domain. So this is also very interesting, where she has taken clinical systems and taking appointment, kind of like an appointment scenario. So
this is good. Even I like that everything she has covered. She is first identifying the clinic name, and then she is able to select the dates and time slot and all, and then
it is very important. Yes.
Yeah, so it is I verified, and this is really well structured. This is how it has to be. So yeah, so it's 10 on 10.
Yeah. Gaurav, I think the only Gaurav and Prerna, the thing was like, I made this on Lucidchart, and then I was trying to save it. It didn't let me because it was asking for the premium and all that. So I just took a picture. That's why the quality is like so bad.
That's okay.
That is not at all an issue. You prepared this, created this. That's more than important. It's okay. We can definitely see it. Not an issue.
And this is how you can reuse in future. If you cannot it ask you to get into the premium, just take the screenshot of it. That's it. And we can get it. So do you want me to bring the another one, Prerna ji?
Yeah, I think Anam's is left, no?
Yeah, Anam's is left. Anam's was also good. I mean, we have
Anam
not
was the first one to share. So kudos to Anam for taking that ownership and that first step. So everybody actually, shared. I think Bobby is yet to share, right? Bobby,
so Bobby's some guests are there, so he is.
No worries.
But in the start we were discussing that success comes with the failure. So every failure will have a fish bone.
Yes.
Yeah.
So are you having fish's bone with your guest? So you're like, oh, I am actually working on a fish bone thing, not a diagram, but the actual one.
Yeah,
मेरी
yeah.
सारी जेब में fish bones भरी हुई हैं अभी तो.
Yes,
Good
yeah.
one, good one.
So
Okay.
here is the one,
So
but
yes,
I
yes,
cannot
yeah. It was
maximize.
also very, very professional. Yeah, very well drawn. So the problem of the yeah, is actually taken a medical example, which is good, and which is the wordings are difficult for us, but that's okay. Osteoarthritis. I'm so sorry. I'm very bad.
It's
I'm a commerce
it's
student.
it's
Yeah,
it's
osteoarthritis.
it's
Yeah,
arthritis. It's a type of,
arthritis. Okay, my goodness, the spelling kills.
yeah, it's
Yes,
osteoarthritis.
osteoarthritis. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
osteoarthritis. Now better. So
Mhm.
yes, diet, lifestyle, occupation, your medical history.
Yeah.
Others, please go on mute. Others, please go on mute. So, Anam, very well done. You have given all the causes, resulting into this illness or disease, I would say, and what are those causes even contribute. So, why diet you are poor up nutrition or alcohol or maybe smoking or other bad habits, and occupation, maybe long sitting hours or or stress on the joints. So it's very nice. I really liked
Mm.
it.
Yeah.
Very well made, with proper inputs. Yes.
Yeah. So, yeah. In fact, the patients would love this because,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
So, yeah. So I think we are done. Anyone is left out, or we can move ahead.
Anybody wants to discuss their diagram, please go ahead. This is the time because we've taken enough
Yeah.
time. So I think we can start with the session.
Yeah. Thank you so much. So I take it as a no, and we'll move ahead sharing the
Yes.
PPT, what I was sharing. Okay. So let me bring that up again, and we are getting into ER diagram as in entity relationship diagram. So yeah, Prerna ji, if you would like to add up and give heads up, however.
Yes. So basically, entity relationship diagrams, as the name suggests, here it is shown in this box type format. So all these boxes, each individual boxes represents an entity. Okay, when I say entity, what does that mean? That means an individual, what I would say, representation, no, which is useful or which is a part of that process. So for example, in earlier examples, for example, Anand's example, if we take, so maybe lifestyle, that can be an entity, working hours, that can, an office culture or office habits, that can be an entity, so like that we could, what do you say, correlate with this. Here in this diagram, we are going by products and catalog sizes, and also here we have taken apparel size. So whenever we talk about apparel size, what all characteristics, like whenever, if anybody has worked on databases or something technical in IT, they would know, like every human has specific characteristics, like specific name, that can be like our ID, though it is not always unique, but it is at least person specific. So specific name, specific height, color, size, appearance. So similar way, every entity has its characteristic. So those are, given in the form of apparel, apparel size. For the specific thing, size, we have size ID, size code, size order. So whenever we go for shopping, we see a lot of items, or a lot of things. They have given specific codes. So as you all know, those codes or those IDs are for unique identification. So here, if you observe, almost all the entities do have this IDs or code, because that is the unique identifier. Just remember this word, unique identifier. So if you see, apparel has this size, product has, product categories has IDs, categories itself has IDs. So color, product codes, everybody will have one unique each identifier, that is called as ID, and with prefix of that particular category or entity, and that ID is used for showing a relation or connection between those entities. Okay, if you ask me why everything has an ID, because for example, if we all of us consider ourselves as humans, okay, so there, how would I reach out to you? Like, even in that case, we can say human A, B, C. So that's why we have these different names or different identifiers, where we are able to connect with each other separately. We are able to identify each other. So on similar grounds, we have these tables per se. Entities can be even called as tables for understanding as of now. So apparel size, products, product categories. Just try to imagine any typical store. And I don't know, you're a fan of Zara. I'm not, rather, but any other, maybe you go to Target or any other, Walmart. So there you see so many sections, so many variety of things, all of the day-to-day products. So that, and then how you define the relationship between that. So now a store might have variety of things and variety of tables, which we have here 6. But when a customer places an order, now we are focusing between a customer and order. So that time, what are the important factors? Okay, but so that is the similar, what I would say, scenario. So whenever a customer comes in and he gives an order, that time the details to be taken, as you all know, that is your name, your contact number, and your address. Address is optional because nowadays it is kind of connected with your phone number, your all the details, So yes, but your name and contact number for sure. And once you provide that, that is what order details you get wherever just try to visualize any of your recent purchases, physical purchases, whenever you go. So you give your card or you give your cash, and they might enter your name because of to be put on the, what I would say, receipt, or and then they'll ask for your number. And what you will get, you'll get definitely detailed order, with the amount and taxes and all that. And definitely you will have the order ID or order number, that will be again a unique identifier, as well as you will definitely get the order date. So why these things are important, why we always insist on taking bills, is whenever we are not happy or we want to replace or exchange a particular product or order, in future we have to carry the bill. So this is the relationship between customer and orders. Once when a customer gives an order, what kind of interaction or what kind of what I would say, flow, or what kind of relationship they have between each other. So this similar scenario can also be drawn while you have this I would say exchange. So if you want to exchange a particular item, so the customer comes in, he gives the earlier receipt, and then the counter guy checks the receipt and asks the issue. So again, the customer ID, if the customer is a membership customer or a regular customer, and I think with every purchase, they do save your details most of the times, at least your name and phone number. So that will be verified, and then that will be verified against the order, that have they brought the proper product, all that. So this is the relationship between any two entities. So any two different, I would say, entities, when they are working together, how they are connected. I know it is a little different than the regular diagrams, but then it is a very interesting diagram, and more you'll read about it or try to understand, you will get it. And then we have relationships. See, we have these arrows coming in from one diagram to another. That means it's joining, both the entities. So yes, I just wanted to share this, and I'll request Gauravji to throw some more light on this. If you wish to
Thank you so much, Prerna ji, for adding up. Yeah, I would like to add more simplification, what you have mentioned to it. So I think that will be helpful. So understand this. What is this? So this is nothing but a database. When I'm talking about database, imagine that you are the owner of one garment store. Okay. Now, when you are the owner of a garment store, what all that consists of various shelf. Okay, the shelf of those garment. That's number one. Number two, what all those shelf can contain. Those shelf can contain various products, like it could be t-shirt, it could be jeans, it could be tops, bottom, or means whatever you just name, a shirt or pants, or ladies item, and ladies garment means top, bottom, and then gents shirt and t-shirt, then unisex t-shirt or something like that. Various items are there. But now you need to identify them through the apparel size. Now, when you are getting into, say, for example, a product. Okay, first you will go to the product. The product will have the various product. Okay, say for example, t-shirt and jeans, we will take an example. Okay, so inside the t-shirt and jeans, when you will get into the details, you will find it has some relationship with the colors. Okay, that's number one. Number two, it has some identification written on it, so that you can identify whether it is a t-shirt. Not only t-shirt will be named over there. Okay, then it will have some another data associated with it. Okay, so when I am talking about categories, it may have some various style categories. So that's the reason you will find that it has some category ID written. So that category ID will further let you get into, parent category ID and category name. Because now we were talking about t-shirt and we talked about, style category. Now the style may have, say for example, winter collection. Okay, so now the winter collection have the further further categories, like full sleeves, half sleeves, or something like that, with hood, without hood, or something like that. So that's the further categorization is happening. But top of that, what you have seen, it is also denoting about the sizes. So wherever the a shelf can be the bigger container, and inside those shelf there should be further sub shelf, which is keeping the variety of the product, that is t-shirt, jeans and all. And inside that variety you will have further sorting order done with the size wise and then color wise and something like that. So understand this garment store as a bigger database, and then getting into the shelf, those are the table, and then identifying with the size ID and the color name or color code or color ID, those are called as records. So what you are doing, you are simply when taking out one item and you are trying to relate with the shelf, that is called as entity relationship diagram. That's what we have seen over here with the customer and order. So I hope I have added some brief and it was the quick one. So can I get yeses to move further? Thank you. Thank you so much, Dipti and Bobby. So yes, so I have added that. Let me continue and talk about visual model and UI wireframe and mockup. So generally what happens as a user of any instrument or any say for example, even some garment, sometime you find that some instruction are given to you. Okay, that's number one. Number two, even to for the using software, sometime you get some instruction given to you. Yes, who is this? Rahul. Yeah, Rahul, tell me.
You were talking about categories. You gave a good description. So are you trying to say that there are two different subcategories, because you had one category and then you had a subcategory? Remember you were telling about winter clothes, and then you said there's another subcategory. So can you give an example? Let's say there are men's shirts and pants are there. So few are jeans and few are t-shirts and few are full sleeve shirts, and then few are gym gym attire for men when they go to the gym. So are these the main categories, or then you divide them according to the season? So that's the only thing I didn't get. Yeah, so categorization, you can choose how you want to. As you are the owner of store, you can decide how you are going to do it. My intent to explain over here is that
that to simplify entity and relationship diagram only. Okay, so you can go ahead in the detail, you can categorize them further. Okay, so if you want to just showcase that the upper level, that you have two types of database where you keep the records, one is gents and one is ladies section, that's okay. When you visit the gents section, then that table is the bigger table, then you can break them down into smaller tables. And so what is this? The main collection is a big table, a big table which has been combined with the another various small tables, and that's how it has been made a bigger table. Okay, bigger table. So are you getting me what I'm trying to say? So you have smaller tables. I'm heading towards and pointing towards database. Okay, smaller tables. And how do you combine them? So sometimes we write join statements. Have you heard of it, Rahul?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So if you're listening to this for first time, to understand, to manage tables in database, we retrieve some information from various different tables by writing some query language writing. So when you do a search, for example, Control F, and I want to write something box. Okay, so what I am doing, I'm generating a query, what exactly I want. So I'm trying to highlight box from the available slide. That's number one. Also, if I can go very narrow, I can say match case. So I have 2-3 options. One option is stick with the same slide and try to highlight the word boxes, which exactly matches the case. So what I said, highlight boxes which exactly matches the case. So this particular statement, after I said word, so what I said, let in the double quotes, this highlight boxes in the current slide. This will become your query. In the similar manner that I have defined here, what I am going to do about that, in the similar manner, when you are playing with the database records, you will write some queries. So those query could be select this item from this table. So that's how you write a database query. So that's number one. Number two, say for example, there are n number of tables, 3 tables, and they contain various database. One contain gents, another contain size, another contain color. Now you have 3 tables. What you are going to do, you are going to bring them together. For that, you will be writing 3 different queries, and further you can concatenate them, or you can simply write one query which joins all the information from these 3 tables and can create one customized table for you where all the information will be retrieved all together. So what I was mentioning over here, in the men's section, smaller shelf is what of jeans, and in the same shelf there is some sorting has been done, that is about the size and the color. So it has not been defined at one place, but that from my system, if I have a software, garment store software, I can locate where this information has been stored. Okay, and for that I will write a join query, and it will give me either the shelf number or self information or whatever. So did I further added something in addition in your answer, Rahul?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So thank you so much. So let's move further and come back to UI wireframe and mockup. So when I was talking that every single software comes with some manual, every utility or every what do you call, every appliances also come with some manual. Inside manual, when you see the instruction, there are some pictorial representations are also written. Sometime it says that company logo or say button, and then it explains the feature. So when you identify these all stuff written well, then you identify there are various various usage of, such mock-up. We call that those pictorial representation, or in software it's a UI representation. UI means user interface representation. Okay, so it has three types, which we call it as a low fidelity UI prototype, medium fidelity UI prototype, and high fidelity UI prototype. What does it mean? When we are talking about low fidelity, it means it may show up general layout of the screen. Okay, so general layout, this is the menu bar, this is the status bar, this is the side slide bar, or something like that. When we will talk about medium fidelity, it will show the UI elements on the screen. So UI elements could be, this is the format painter inside the home menu, and then this is the new slide, and then further new section will be added for the insert, and for the insert it will show further UI elements, like this is the icon for new slide to add table, and you keep on explaining those icons. Okay, and then high fidelity, when we call it, then often called a rendering, and it will represent exactly how the UI should look and feel once implemented. So when first time I'm coming up from low to medium, I may simply craft a normal drawing where I may say that there will be a table, and I may not immediately create the icon like this, but just a representation. But when it will become high fidelity, it will show up the mockup exactly customer wants to. So this is how UI wireframe and mockups are created easily in the word processing system. So yeah, so this is how it is. So let's just take example of manuals. So this mockup are used in creating the manual. Sometime you can use them in the creation of business requirement document. Yeah, that's it for UI wire framework mockup. So before I proceed further, Prerna, would you like to throw some light over here, and then we can move?
Yes, Gauravji, you have given a pretty good or detailed information about this, and it is very much self-explanatory. So you start with a very simple prototype, which is very basic, and then you go into adding details or refinement into it. So here there is nothing much, because generally this kind of work is done by the design team rather, I would say. And as a BA or as a Scrum Master, as a team member, you are supposed to understand what kind of wireframe is that. So just, I think this much information is good enough for us to get that. Yes.
Thank you so much, Prerna. Oh yeah, so yeah, so this is WBS. I think yeah, you would love to take this. This is work breakdown structure.
Balaji, one question, sorry.
Yeah, be quick one.
Yeah, so as Prerna was saying that this wireframe diagram, isn't that, I'm also thinking it's more like a designer job when you get in the design of the
okay,
because
so
I've never in my life I've never written requirements.
Okay, you have not written a requirement. So what happens is
UI firm, and not in this kind of, I've never drawn this diagram.
Okay, so what exactly happens when you mention the requirement? Okay, so you mention the functionality, right? So if you will pick up any of the requirements, so for that, what I'll have to do, I'll have to quickly do a Google, and in Google I can show you up. Let me see if I can do that. Okay, so understand, let me do this thing, and let me share my screen. Okay, so not sure if you can see the screen, but yeah, I have shifted. Tell me something, some functionality you want to see. Say for example, there is something called, in Excel I want to search how to sort how to merge two cells in one. Okay, for that there is concatenate, but I want to just how to merge two cells in one cell in Excel. Okay, so I have searched this. Now what is going to happen? I have received multiple results. Okay, so let me go somewhere and in the images, and yeah, So this is one document which is appearing. Okay, I will go to this site. Okay, so now the requirement is clear. So what this guy has done, this guy has taken the screenshot, okay, and he has mentioned that screenshot in the guide. Further, he has pointed what he is going to do. Okay, so this is how requirement was clear, and further he has added into the Excel what is happening, what is in pictorial form, whatever the steps are there, he is mentioning that. Okay, in the similar manner, when you explain the business requirement document, then sometimes to explain some feature, you may need to add some screenshot. Okay, so this is also a type of example of mockup. Mockup not necessarily always get into the detail of the designer. Yes, designer will do that, but also as a responsible BA, you should be knowing that how you can add those mockups into the business requirement document. Okay, so this is on high level, not in the detailed level. Does it make sense to you, Rahul?
Yeah, some sense, but I'm still.
Rahul, I would like to add this. So I did say it is a designer's job, but then when Gauravji explained this, I remember what happens whenever you're in the initial discussion and talks with the customer, and you go to them, and you are in the process of preparing BRD, that is business requirement document, or FSD. So that time, when you talk about the deliveries, okay, what we will deliver at this point. So at times it is again specific to companies to company, but then as a BA, you do add this images or diagrams as well. You can do this online with the help of any tools like Canva and other, but then it's definitely a good to know information, though you might not always make or draw that, but knowing, okay, this is a basic wireframe, this is a wireframe in detail with functionality, or this is a UI wireframe, so it's good to know. So definitely there are chances, 50-50 chances, depending on your organization, that you draw it, or it is included in the diagram or not. But yes, as a part of understanding, it is definitely a good to have knowledge or skill. And if you are keen into drawing, then definitely you can always be in contact with your design team, because you are the one, along with design team head or lead maybe at times, to visit the customers. But I've seen a lot of BAs who were very enthusiastic and interestingly work with design team, though it's not their job, but then because of their interest, they used to be a very active, they used to have active participation in that. So yes, that is from my personal example. I'm again giving a disclaimer.
Yes.
It can differ as per company to company, process to process. Yes.
Yeah, but initially, rightly said, Prernaji, that's what I mean. When you are as a business analyst visiting to the customer, you need to take out the requirement, and those requirement has to be presented in the pictorial form, and there you can mention, you can mention this mockups. So when you will Google out and you will try to get any single requirement document, you will find there are some additional pictorial examples are given. So I'm not sure whether I'm finding the exact right one or not, but yeah, you can simply go ahead and you will try to identify that. So yeah, you can use any example and you can go ahead and go through that. So this is everywhere. So if this information is not there with you, not only designer, even business analysts are responsible to create such kind of mock-up. Okay, so take this as an information for you, and further you can Google it and get to into the details of it. Okay, so be ready if you are not ready till now, if you have not created such requirement document yet. Yes, Rahul.
Yeah, I mean, one last comment is, yes, I mean, it's okay. You're saying like this, for example, this menu will include this functionality. That's fine. But not getting into like, where will that be located? I think that's a designer job. That's my 20 cents on it. I mean, the BA can show, okay, these are the functionality available on a high level file.
Yeah.
saving,
So exact location, that's the designer job. Location identification is designer job. But on the page, these element has to be there. So that you need to point out.
Yeah, I got that. Thank you.
Okay, welcome. So great. So let me reshare my screen back to the PPT and getting into this. Yeah. So having discussed this, back to Prerna ji for work breakdown structure explanation. Yeah.
Yes, so this is one of the very interesting and extremely useful thing to know. Basically, work breakdown structure means, what are the deliverables or activities that will be a part of your current, what I would say, job or current profile. It simply means, for example, if you're working as a BA, so as a BA, what kind of activities you will be involved in, or what kind of processes or tasks you will be taken care of. So preparing the business requirement document, that is BRD, talking with the customer, refining the requirements, talking with your design team, development team, testing team as required. So these are all the examples pertaining to BA role. So here, when we see, and also I wanted to just give you a highlight. Uh, in many organizations, in my earlier organizations, the code which is given, for example, right, whenever you are hired, you are getting charged to a client, right? Because it's called billing, if you guys have heard that. And it's used in many occupations or many professions. So that time, that billing code is also called as WBS. What's your WBS code? So basically, on basis of what you work as, your per hour, or the charges or the amount that is charged to the customer, that is also what I would say decided. So that is also called as WBS in some of the organizations. And this is and why that is called as, because for example, if you are a senior analyst or if you are a senior project manager, then definitely the charges to the customers would be higher, because the amount of responsibility, the kind of work you do is definitely bigger in scale and importance. As well as if you're starting as a fresher in an industry, as a junior or resource, then definitely the activities or the tasks involved are not so critical in the learning mode. So again, to explain it to the further, basically to deliver or to achieve your target as your what you say, your professional goals are for given to you or assigned to your role. This is the WBS, or this is the work breakdown structure, that what you have to do. So you have to talk to the maybe the development team, the HTML and UI design team, the testing team. So all these parameters have to be checked whenever you say, okay, I'm working as a BA. So your responsibility, your work breakdown structure has to be very clear to you. Nobody comes and explains this to you at one go, but as you go on in your day-to-day life, along with your primary responsibilities, you do understand what other things also you have to consider. So yes, Gauravji, this is from my side, because this is only for their understanding point of view.
Yes, sure. So generally work breakdown structure, product owner or project manager's responsibility is that, where, here you see the example of retail website, and what all involves project management, requirement gathering, and every single step will be broken down further. But here you have seen the example of one item, that is site software development, where the website involves these 5 items, and every single item like HTML design and creation, backend software. So these has to be broken down. Why? The simple intent is towards simplification. Everything when will be broken down at the smallest level will be easier to be developed, to be designed, and to be executed. So that's the reason this WS breakdown structure comes into the place, and few people understand this as a as an organization chart, as Prerna ji was also explaining briefly to all of you. Having said that, I think we are good to move to the next one. So next one is about conversion to design. What is this? So every communication needs to be designed and lead towards visual thinking. When I am talking about visual thinking, what I meant over there, sometimes what happens when you are in discussion with client, client is giving you some information, and that time you cannot do, that time you don't have some handy drawings available with you. But when you are talking, that time you can visualize the thinking by drawing that. How do you do that? Like I sometimes, don't know that what example I'm going to give, and I totally, bring this whiteboard in front of you, and whenever I am going to give, whenever I am giving you example, say for example, I brought all of a sudden the example of you are the owner of a store. Okay, you are the owner of a store, and I am just drawing it, and further mentioning there are the shelf, what I am doing. So whatever I am saying, I'm just drawing that. Whatever, so this is whiteboard is one of the tool where I have not mastered yet how to add a perfect picture into the whiteboard. But if you are doing this on pen and paper, you can do the use of visual thinking. So this is how it happens. So many a times I have given you the example. Having said that, I'm ready to move further, and now here comes the biggest thing, which we are talking about: documents, template, and their understanding. So when you are a business analyst, you should know that there will be multiple items or multiple documents you will be responsible to create. Okay, to name a few, there is project vision document. So if you are a product owner, then you should have this concern. But when you are business analyst, to understand and read it through, you should be knowing that product owner must be having the project vision document, so that you can ask them to understand your own job. But this is not necessary, but should be known reason. I mean, you can ask to product owner, but sometime, while creation of this project vision document, project owner or project manager or product owner may seek your help to discuss the idea and to enhance this document. Okay, then further comes the requirement management plan. So this is the document where your concern will start increasing up, where you have gathered the information and you have tried to showcase that how you are going to utilize it. But since we are moving towards agility, when I am talking about agility is an approach. If you all remember that earlier we have talked about software development life cycle, and in software development life cycle we have various approaches. Like one, we talked about waterfall model, where we have talked about how it flows from requirement gathering to support and maintenance. Okay, so in the similar manner, when we are moving towards agile approach, which is responsible for continuous delivery and continuous improvement, all the requirement has to be converted into few lines of user story. How do we write that? We have seen that in the past, that we have written in the specific format some user story, and those user story are helpful to for every single person involved in the project to work upon, for designing part of the software, or testing part of the software, or the coding part of the software. But in some document, somewhere we also mention use cases, or sometime business analysts come up with the separate use case document. So either we can incorporate use cases in one document, or sometime we can also create a separate use case document. It it is decided and decided by, it varies company to company what exactly documents you need to publish. Nowadays things are totally moving towards user story, because things are getting into project management tools. So everything's are fed into the tools, and tools come up with the user story. So what is use case? Use case are nothing but the features. Okay, in the similar manner user stories are as well. But in the past we used to create business requirement document. It used to be a bulky document, right? So these are the documents which business analysts need to create. But every single document come up with the various parameters you need to define inside those documents. What all those parameters would be, we will be looking at them into the details sooner. Okay, so another document could be requirement traceability matrix that are generally created by, sometime BAs, sometime by testers. But, both the team take the help from this requirement traceability matrix to understand what has been covered or what has been involved into the project. So generally it should not be the much concern for business analysts, but the testers. Okay, then comes to functional requirement specification document. This is another type of a document which goes into detail and talking about functionality of the every single features and every single items involved in the software. And then another document is system requirement specification, where you are talking as a system as a whole and you are mentioning that in a detail. Test case is one kind of a document which are generally created by testers, but it is good to have the knowledge of how it is written. So what all these items will gather, so details of these documents, what will go inside them, we will be understanding sooner them in the coming slides. So that's it about understanding of the documents which can be available, and you may come up with the creation of that means you should be knowing. So fewer of these documents, there are multiple documents, but these are few items which you should know. Okay, I should be knowing these documents because I may get into touch of these documents. So is it okay what exactly I have told so far, what all the names of the document you should be aware of, so that I can move further and explaining every single document in detail? Is it yes to move? Yeah, thanks for your answer. So Prerna, you have explained this entirely, but here I'm sharing the slide. So you can take one, I can take one. Yeah. So first comes this project vision document. So what all goes parameter?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. It is one of the very important document, as the name itself suggests. It provides the vision, rather I would say the direction or the ultimate goal the project is looking at. So I know vision itself is a very big word, or rather an important one. So this document consists of all the important features or characteristics, or the what I would say ultimate goals and deliverables of their project. So as you can see, along with introduction, we provide description of the users in the system. When I say description of the users, means whenever this project is ready, who all will be the users involved in this project. For example, if I'm developing a human resource management system that is called as HRMS in short, so that is actually used by HR. So if I'm creating an accounting system, a financial system, that will be used by my finance or accounting team. So that way you have to describe who are the users in the system. Project stakeholders, I think we've talked enough about it. That means people who all are directly or indirectly involved in the project, who have a vested interest or who has stakes in the projects. That can start with your customers, your management, your senior managers, your developers, your testing team, everybody, your leads, your designers, everybody who has actively contributed in this project are your stakeholders. And then their interest is also dependent on the success and failure of the project. They have put in effort, so they are the stakeholders. Then definitely product overview, product features, product requirements, constraints, and quality documentation requirements. Okay, so whenever we talk about any project, it can be a small application, it can be a what I would say, program, which is a collection of applications or projects. It can be a full-fledged product that you're developing on. I hope you all understand when we say product. For example, Microsoft Word, Microsoft Office is a product wherein you'll have Microsoft Word, you have MS Office, you have PPT, you have whatnot. So this kind of functionalities are clubbed in one. So that is called as product. So whenever you're working on something, what kind of product you're delivering, what are its features. So if we talk about any financial model, okay, what are you providing? Are you working on a billing system? Are you working on an attendance driven salary generation system? Whatever. So what is your domain? What is the product actually consist of? That all has to be involved and mentioned there. Also, when I say about constraints or limitation means, in short, what is the scope of your application? It's not that you'll have each and every functionality. And trust me, guys, please always focus wherever we say on the word scope, because scope is very important. That can also be termed as, not always, but in short, whatever we have mentioned, that will be developed and worked upon. And constraints and limitations means, for example, just a hypothetical example, if you developed a system that can take, for say, 1,000 users at a time logged in, that the load of that application can only sustain that. So that has to be used as a disclaimer and has to be shared with the customer. So if there are 2,000 people trying to log into a system, the system might not work. I know it's not a realistic one, but just for your understanding. So just to take an example of Facebook, I do not know millions and how many people log in at the same time from all over the world, so the amount of traffic they have, the network bandwidth they have is totally amazing. Same with Google, everybody is on Google almost all the time. So they do not have this constraint. But if you have small budget, if you have some network issues, or if you have the limited scope, for example, if we're developing a software for a school, so I'm pretty sure 1,000 is a decent number, including all the number of students or teachers are accessing that portal. So yes, as per the requirement, as per the what I would say, background of usage, what kind of user base you have. If you have limited users, then definitely you will not like to invest too much into that software. Going ahead and buying what I would say, costly softwares or agreements, or additional functionalities. So always focus on what is the scope, and then as per that, your limitations or your constraints are there. And then yes, quality documentation required. So basically you have to deliver a good quality product. And documentation, though we say it's not that important in agile or per se, but having a crisp, hitting on the head, on to point, sorry, description or details about the product and overall of its usage, or its contents and how it works, is very, very important. Rather, it is essential. So try to understand, when we say product vision, what all things come to your mind. That is what this document is provides us. So if you have any doubts, please ask. Otherwise, I'll just ask Gaurav ji to share their views. Or if you have any tiny doubts, please go ahead. Yes.
All right.
I
Thank you
think
so
there's
much,
a-
Prerna ji.
Yes,
Yeah. So
welcome.
now it's time for declaration. Be ready on your toes. And if you are sitting idle, please stand up. Please stand up, I would say, and bring your hand on your palm and repeat after me what you are going to repeat. Repeat that I have enough energy to learn today. Okay, please bring your palm on your heart and say, I have enough energy to learn it today. Okay, have you said that? Okay, once you have done it, now just give yourself high five, or people around you, if you can look at the screen and state like this, that I love what I learn. I love what I learn. Okay, just camera high five. I love what I learn. Okay, so please do it.
What I learned. I love what I learned.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And in case you couldn't do that, I want you to do it with your own high five. I love what I learned. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for doing so. I truly appreciate that. Let's move ahead towards the next slide. And here we go. Is this okay? So this is now after project vision document, requirement management plan. This is one of the document, and Prerna ji rightly said that even though sometimes we don't require document into the agile, it is very, very important to get some documents prepared, because you never know that when the client may ask. Because I remember that in one of the project when I was working, it was completely spinning towards agility, but customer always needed quality gate documents. Quality gate document used to what? So it used to certification of the product which has or the sprint which has passed all the required quality, and it has minimal defect, rather minimal defect, and that to be the cosmetic ones, not to the highest one. And when we were talking about minimal defects of that application, it should be into some defined percentage what client has asked us as a vendor. So that's number one. So what is requirement management plan? Here you define the purpose of the requirement RMP, that is the requirement management plan, and you will also mention that who is responsible for what, and then what all tools you are going to utilize and procedure you are going to follow. Also, what approach you are taking to define any requirement. So see, this is just a first stage is what taking a rough example of requirement, but after that that you are sensing that requirement document creation is going to happen. But before that, you are sending this document, sharing with all the stakeholders the requirement management plan. Again, this is not necessary, but good to have and good to know. Okay, here in this document, you can also mention approach towards requirement traceability, which will be developed sometime. You may also, as a business analyst, create that. Here in this document, you can also draft some workflows and activities, and how the change management takes place. When we are talking about change management, once requirement will be achieved, and in between, if any change will be requested by customer, how the processes will involve, what all it involves for follow any change to accommodate. So that all details will undergo under these headers, which are the part of requirement management plan. I hope you have got whatever I have said. If it is yes, I can move next. Yeah. So these are the parameter. Until unless you won't create them, you won't really get it synced towards inside your mind, inside your brain. This is very important in the earlier days, and even few organizations who can claim that they follow agility, they will still ask you to create use case document. So that's the reason you should know that use cases are some kind of a conditions, scenarios, and features you need to mention, where it involves who all are involved to achieve this use case. Say, for example, coming back to our ATM cash dispensing machine. Okay, that's ATM. Who can withdraw cash? Anyone cash, anyone. In fact, the person who has bank account in the bank of that ATM can withdraw the cash, provided he has sufficient balance of withdrawing amount. Then so this is one of the use case I just now mentioned. Then you will write the description, whatever I have said of this use case, then trigger when this use case will happen, when a person will insert the card, okay, in the ATM. Then precondition. So precondition, ATM should be installed, ATM should be functioning, as a withdrawal feature should be functioning. That is the precondition. Normal flow, what exactly this cash withdrawal system will work. So exactly the data flow diagram it will follow what you guys have created earlier. So you can mention that in detail. I'm not getting into the detail of that because now you are smart enough to think it through, and you can create the picturize the flow, and then alternative flows. So is there any another way to withdraw the cash? So there are the various way. First, either you check the balance yourself and then withdraw. Straight away you can withdraw, and then it's a system responsibility to validate the balances and all, and throw the proper output accordingly, whether it is cash or error. Okay. Then exception. So some exceptions are there, how it will be handled. Say for example, sometime you key in wrong ATM number, or you key in wrong denomination of so that time how the alert has to appear, how this exception has to be handled, instead of entire ATM crashing down and not responding at all on some unexpected action provided by the account holder. Any special requirement to achieve this use case that you are going to write in that special requirement. And assumption is that when cash withdrawal system is happening, the ATM is well funded with the various denomination of the currency. So this is you are assuming, and then you are performing this entire feature. Any notes and issue which are pre-existing, you are writing in the use case, which might have been deferred, and which if customer has, or any stakeholder has any question, they know there are few nominal known bugs or known defects, so they will not even move around that. So these all are the parameters which will go under use case document. Having said that, there is the further we are getting towards user story creation. There is a format and how it goes. So Prerna ji, back to you. You can take this up and explain it.
Yes, Gaurav. So basically, whenever we talk about a user story, it does sound interesting because it has the word story in it, and it is interesting. So basically, so when we say user story, it is like any other, what I would say, a movie story, or like your real life stories which you share with your friends, family, of any particular incident. You have to involve some important parties, like who, what, why. So for example, if I'm talking about a particular user story, with respect to my client, so I would say my client wants to, so who is my client? Okay, so my client or my customer. Okay, now the next question is what? Okay, so he wants to open an account in a bank. Okay, so who is my client? What is he wants to open an account in the bank? And the third is why? Why? Because he needs to do online transactions. I'm talking this about online system. So he wants to do online transactions. He wants to withdraw or deposit money into his account. So this can be a very, very simple, as in I just wanted to fill in these words and their understanding. So that's why I have mentioned that a customer wanting to create an online account, or having access to his bank into online portal. Why? For the purpose of handling his account. So this is a very simplest form of user story. But then as in we go into agile, or we go into the actual industry, there are requirements given in the form of user stories, stating or explaining different varieties of functionalities. For example, the same example of online account handling can be explained like, okay, I need to have access to my current account, my saving account, my RD account, if if they have any. And then I want to add nominees, like any other typical banking application, right? You all must be logging into your bank accounts. You know that you can add a beneficiary, you can transfer money, you can check balance, you can check your earlier months or earlier duration statements, transactions. So all this ultimately forms as a user story. The user story, I would, in my words, I would state, is like a is rather a detailed requirement told in the format that is understandable and easy to follow. So this is actually very easy, and I know today we have been talking about many different concepts. So till now you must have got a very good hail in your mind, when I'm saying hail, a lot of a pretty good mixture. But don't worry, don't take everything at once. We wanted to share all this because these are all linked topics, but take your time to digest them, revisit this video in bits and pieces. Okay, this, okay, now we are talking about designing a document. This can be it. You can Google it a little bit. You can check other trainers videos in Guru Schools and know what they have explained on this topic, and then take one step at a time. You know how we say one day at a time. So one specific document, one specific topic at a time, because today we have taught you a lot of, though they are smaller or easier, but there are lot of concepts for you to understand and digest. So yes, Gaurav ji, this is from my side, and I just wanted to highlight. I feel today we have given them a lot to understand and digest. So your take, and also we are kind of going towards the end. So it's up to you. You can take few slides, or we can go towards the end, because BRD we're already covered. All of all of us have a fair idea about what is business requirement document. So your call. You can take one or two slides if you wish to. Over to you.
Was looks like I was talking on mute. So yeah, thank you so much, Prerna ji. So yes, BRD was also mentioned earlier. So see, the BRD is document which also goes with certain thing. We will talk about this in later. If you wish to get get into the details of this further, we will touch base this again. However, let me see quickly which is not required. So I think there are few slides. I can take it up. So only 3 slides. We will not get into the details of it. So in next 2 minutes, let me see what all I can cover up. So
sure.
Yeah. So the next thing is requirement traceability matrix. You should be knowing that BRD document when we talk. So, and sometime we are talking about requirement. So in the creation of the document, we give them a number, and that's where the requirement ID identification comes into the picture. This requirement will have one description, and what all the requirement functionality it will consist of, in what state it is, whether it is has been developed, it is in progress, or it is yet to be developed. So that status it will undergo. So who uses this? So generally testers use this document, but as a business analyst, you should be knowing that there are few areas for which you should be aware of, like when the moment it comes to requirement. So you should be knowing that there are something which we call it as a requirement identification, and those could be ticket number. When I talk about ticket number, I'll share the same example of project management system tools, or like Jira, Trello, or some other tools which we have named earlier. So there whatever the ticket will be created as a terms of feature improvement or user story, you will have a ticket ID of that, so that you can mention as a requirement ID as well. But also you can mention in the document whatever the requirement ID is there. Say for example, RQ001 could be one of the requirement ID, and it talks about cash withdrawal system. Then you can mention that in the description. Functional requirement, so you can mention that it has not been developed. So status, you can further mention that. Then comes, apart from BRD, we have functional requirement specification, or we call it as a functional specification document. So in BRD, the requirements are high level, but in FRD and FSD, they are written in much more details because we touch base the functionality of it. So does the functional specification documents become a more technical, accurate, and descriptive requirement document? Okay, although this is the part of BRD only, not part of means this can be coined up, or business requirement document can be taken the base of this to develop a new document altogether, which we call about functional specification document. As name suggests, it will specify all the functionality in that document. Okay, so you can Google these documents, and you can come up with some question. You can come up with some self-generated document as well. So, and then comes to system requirement specification, where in this document, as system as a whole should be created. Now remember, I want you to take a note right now and ask us many questions related to BRD and FRD and FSD during our one Q&A dedicated session. We will have one Q&A dedicated session. And then one thing which you should be knowing, but these are the responsibility of tester, which we call at the test case document, where we number one test case, and these all value it will take. So let's not rush into these things. Consider as we have stopped over here, where user story, and from next day we will once again go through these requirement traceability document, and we will try to share as much details as possible. So we have come to the end of this session, but before we wrap it up, let me open the forum for any question if you have right now. I know it was really intense today. It was so much, sharing from our end instead of asking you to do some activity, and that's why I had to break into between and give you some declaration. So yes, any question, guys, because you will be experiencing this documentation soon. So yeah, Priyanka, I see you have unmuted. Yeah. Go ahead.
So just like a simple question, like all these slides we went through, like regarding business requirement document and also the vision document. So these all are, what is the tool used where, these documents are made? Is it like depends from organization to organization?
Yes. So it is depend upon organization to organization. Sometime you may have, word processing document as at list, so that you can create those document into the Word document. Otherwise, a few documents, few design you have created in the Lucidchart. In the similar manner, there will be various tool. Even for a word processing document, there are various documents. There are various tools which are available and which you can use. To name a few, I talk about, we create a PowerPoint inside PPT, MS PPT. We have some open office presentation. We have some different tools, SlideShare and all. So in the similar manner, when we talk about, BRD creation. So BRD, you can create in the various documents. So there are MS Word or open office document, or some cloud documents like you see here, just now came on your screen, which is called as PandaDoc. So here you can generate some BRD document. So BRD documents goes, executive summary of the document, business objective, background, scope, feature, functional requirement, personal requirement, reporting and quality assurance, delivery. So these are the table of content, and further you can go ahead and you can elaborate them. So you can quickly take a note of that BRD document may or sometime consist of that. So not necessary whatever you see on the screen will be only the things which will involve in BRD. Sometimes it varies based on, organization, based on the discussion with the client, and based on various factors. So not only one thing. So you can take a quick screenshot of it or photograph of it. So yeah, I think I have answered. Not specific tools. It's all about what organization has decided. Any further question, Priyanka, if I have answered it?
Yeah. Regarding the ER diagram, Gaurav, just wanted to ask, like, the tables which we saw, like, in this diagram. So it can be arranged in any order, like wherever you want to put, and how n number of tables you want to put here, like the boxes, I mean, to be
Yeah. So there are few tools available which are dedicated towards ER diagram only. So what you need to do, so in I don't remember, I'll have to go and Google it out. So what you can do in those tools, cloud-based tool, what you need to do, you need to just input the name of the tools, name of the table, name of the record. That's all. And further, if you want to club relate those table with the another table, what you will have to do, you will just take shape or the line, and you can drag and drop them somewhere wherever you want to connect with them.
Okay.
So that's how
Okay,
you can
cool.
define the relationship. Yeah, so
Makes sense.
this has
Okay.
been much easier nowadays. Any further question, guys, you can just bring in front.
Hey, Gaurav ji,
Yeah, Rahul.
I want to know, just one question I have. What is the basic difference between system requirements document and functional requirements document, with a small example?
Okay,
How you can do it at the end.
yeah, so this is we are at the end. So yeah, you can ask that in Q&A as well in the detail, but just to let you know that system requirement document will cover the end-to-end system requirement. It also involves hardware and software requirement. Okay, not only just it defines every single thing, okay, as a system as a whole. But when we talk about functional requirement document, did you ask functional requirement document and system requirement document, Rahul? Please confirm.
Yes.
So system requirement document and functional requirement document. So system requirement document, I told you, end to end, including hardware and software as well. But this functional requirement document will undergo this thing, what do you call, specific functionality, which will be elaborated further. Okay, so all those functionality part of the application will be the can be the part of this table of content, and further you can get its explanation further. And every single functionality you may have a different FRD document as well. Not necessary that in one big FRD you have all the functionality included. So it can be splitted functionality wise as well. So just to answer you quickly. Yeah. So
I didn't get the last one. You are saying to say the functional requirements could also be in the system requirements document too? No, I'm wrong.
No, I did not say that. Please go through the recording, whatever I have said, so I can move to the next session. Please go through the recording. So in this way, you will also get the time to go through and revisit whatever has been discussed. Yeah, Rahul? I think that will make sense.
All right.
Yeah, thank you. So I have another question from Anam. What she says that, so Prerna ji, for your information, Anam is just giving more attention to her child, and that's the reason she was crying. That's the reason she was not able to speak up today. Her question is, what's the difference between all these flow diagrams, and how will we know that which flow diagram we need to use in which scenario? What is the role of BA in ER diagram? So very, very good question. Prerna ji, would you like to take this up and answer it quickly?
Yes, first of all, a very good and practical question. It's as simple as that. We all study all the subjects in the, what I would say, in the school. But then as we go into specialization, our subject changes, or our subject gets concentrated to one or two. So on the similar pattern, this all documents, or the knowledge of how these documents are, what they contain, is definitely good to have as a PA. But again, I will emphasize, as we say in the most of the times, it all depends on company to company, organization and process, as per processes, as which all documents they follow. As a matter of fact, BRD or FSD, that is business requirement document, or it can be called as functional specifications document. That is the main document which is prepared everywhere, and it is kind of like the mandatory one. But along with that, what are documents like flow diagrams, ER diagrams? Today we learned about different types of other documentation, so all those depends upon the organization and as well as the ask from the customer. So in my earlier experience, if the company, if the client is from any designing point of view, or you're catering to any advertising agency or stuff like that, and then definitely they will be more keen on knowing what are the UI mockups, what are the design templates, and they'll be more insisting on knowing all those details. In case if you're talking to any per se educational background customers, or if you're talking to any per se welfare funded, or an NGO type of kind of customer, just an hypothetical example, they will not be so keen on the design. They'll be more keen on the functionality part of it. So depending on what kind of customers you have and what kind of processes you have in your organization, the inclusion or the usage of documents change. But again, I want to emphasize FSD and BRD are prime, and they are very important, and they are created. So that being said, that is the main document. Other documents, other diagrams, other structures, other designs, they can be flexible. So you will
Yeah.
get to know only when you reach to that organization
Yeah.
what kind of things they include in the document.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you
Do
so
I
much,
answer your question? Yes.
Prerna ji, let's together add something more. So I have quickly to tell Anam is this, that when you will start developing this diagram, what Prerna ji has just now mentioned, you will experience on the fly, on the go, that what diagram you need to mention. So the moment you are explaining some feature, and you have to explain that where to click, what to click, right? So what diagram you will create over there? Of course, you will create the mock-up diagram. Okay, the mock-up diagram where you are mentioning about the button. So edit button will be there. So you have just added the snippet of the edit button from the mock-up document, okay, in the BRD. That's number one. Number two, you should just be knowing the ER diagram. You need not to create the entity relationship diagram. But when you are writing a BRD document or FSD document especially, then you will be talking that customer will click on the find button, and it should yield the result of all the apparel available in the store in the separate sorted by product ID. Say for example, you have mentioned that. Now you, in a system document, what will happen, even you will adapt and add the snippet of the ER diagram which has been created by tech lead, as a technical lead, okay, or technical architect. So even they create some document. So you can take the screenshot or snippet of those, and you wish, if you wish, you can put them into your functional requirement document. That's number two. So you should not be worrying about creating the entity relationship diagram, but you should be aware what it is and from where you can include them. So just knowing what you are mentioning, you will get the idea. Okay, we are talking about use case. So can I
Sauravji, just
represent?
to add, I just sorry for interviewing. I
Yes.
just kind of read Anand's question again. So she has asked very specific that what is the need and how to use as per the scenario. So Anand, to answer your this question, rather a very important question, you will be asked. Okay, you will be asked by the customer as well as your organization. Okay, that we have to include ER diagram in this document. You will you will be told most as a fresher, as a newbie. First, definitely they'll set the expectation that we want interrelationship diagram, we want process flow diagram. So you will be told, or in case if you if they are not there and you are keen on adding them, you can always request or check with your seniors. So it is all a guided environment. So do not worry that you will be expected out of nowhere. They will guide you. Second thing, a BA's role in this diagram is at times, as we mentioned earlier, you might be expected to make them at times, or you just might be expected to know these concepts. So that is again optional, and that is again depending on the organization. Really sorry, Gauravji, please go ahead.
Yeah.
I'm done
So
from my
no. You well pointed out, and thank you so much. Yes. So this is how your question is also taken care, Anam. Yeah, Anam. So I think we have answered. If you have further question, please ask in the Q&A, and till then you can just store it. So we have come to the end, guys. Moving back to Anam, can you write one word from today's session in the chat window, because you are using chat window perfectly. So also write one word and also ask someone's name. Okay, mention someone's name. One quick word which comes in your mind. Okay. While you are writing that, let me move to Bobby, because he is unmuted, and call out yours name. Anam, be ready. Okay. So yeah, Bobby, one word from today's session, please.
It was intense, and need to watch it again tomorrow. Definitely. Yes.
Exactly. Amazing. So call out the name.
Priya.
No, call out Anam's name, because I told Anam that you.
Anam. Sorry. Yeah.
So Anam writes that today I understood everything, and she took the name of Priyanka. Priyanka, please go ahead and one word.
You, Gaurav and Anam, are very vast, I feel, and very descriptive.
Call out someone's name, please.
I would say I'm gonna steal Rahul's words. It was very thought-provoking for me from started from my fishbone diagram. And as always, thank you so much, guys. Now I'm gonna say Priya.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you, Deepti. I would like to repeat what Bobby and Deepti said. It was very intense, and I should definitely do my homework on, researching and watching the video again and getting in depth. And I would say Prernaji.
Prernaji, you are on mute. We are not able to hear you.
Hello, are you able to hear me?
Yes.
So sorry, I was on mute. So first of all, thank you so much for such active participation, and I totally understand that we both understand that these are something new or different topics for you, so you might feel a little overwhelmed, but do not. First of all, we are very happy that I am personally very happy to see that all of you have put in efforts along with your busy schedule and share the diagrams. And I know, Bobby ji, you haven't, but you have been very active and you do listen to the videos again. So again, first of all, a very interesting and superb informative session today. Thank you so much, Gaurav ji, as well. And thank you all of you for your active participation, because that is what we seek. Unless you ask us questions, unless you come up with doubts and ask queries, we are not able to gauge that the things are reaching out to you. So thank you so much for your participation, and do reach out to us on the WhatsApp group, on one-to-one chats. We are all there, and try to learn more, and do not get overwhelmed. That's what I want to highlight, because things are very smooth and streamlined in organizations. Here, only from teaching point of view, we are sharing everything or whatever we can. That is what is our motive, to teach you everything that we should be well equipped to face any situation and any scenario. So once again, thank you so much, and over to you, Gaurav.
Thank you so much, guys. So one word, thank you, and go through the recording once again. I know what was there and what you need to do. Thank you so much. I'm rushing out the time and ending the recording. Bye-bye and good night.
Gaurav, you didn't even let me say anything.
Oh yes, I actually thought Rahul was left.
How can say a single word?
So my net was chopped, and I saw that Deepti took Rahul's name, that what Rahul said, and I said, okay, you might have said. Yes, one word quickly, Rahul, please add one word, which could be powerful.
Very challenging and thought-provoking, I would say.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your time. I'm really rushing to the another meeting, so I'll have to end this call now. Thank you so much. Bye-bye. Good day, guys.
Good night. Bye, everyone.
Good night. Yeah.